I'm about to show you a turntable that I would wager you've never seen before, and it's this. So what exactly is this? Well, yes, it's a turntable, but does something look strange about it? Now we'll get to that in a moment, but let's first talk about who makes this because they make some absolutely beautiful products, and chances are you've never heard of them, but we're going to correct that today. The company is Muarah, and I have no doubt I'm pronouncing it maybe a little bit wrong. They're based out of Poland, and they make some, like I said, amazing products, all of which are hand-built and available through their US distributor, Octopus Tree Audio. Their turntables are basically works of art. They also make an integrated tube amp and a phono stage, as well as their own tone arms designed and manufactured in Poland. On top of all of that, they have a very unique product that I've never seen before. It's an off-board speed controller that manages the speed real-time with an intelligent record clamp. The vinyl record experience has just entered the space age, and all of their turntables, from what I understand, are compatible with that precision speed controller, including the MT3 turntable, which I have right here. And it really is a beautiful design. It's just as much I would say, a conversation piece as it is a turntable or a high-end turntable. And they also make their own tone arm. It's their own proprietary tone arm. It's the MY19. It's a 9-inch arm with a gimbal design. The whole thing, the turntable and the tone arm, all arrive carefully packaged. And it does require a bit of knowledge and, how to set up a turntable and a tone arm. The arm itself is an aluminum tube that's encased in a carbon fiber tube, and that's meant to shield the wires that are running from the cartridge right out of the tone arm and out of the unit. And it took me a little over an hour to set it up, taking everything into account, like, the tone arm height, the overhang, VTF, VTA, anti-skate, and really everything else. I won't lie, it's really not for the squeamish. I did appreciate the ease of the anti-skate, though. It's a weight that's suspended on a string that runs through a Teflon roller. I tested it all with the Wally skater from Wham Engineering, and I was completely satisfied with its accuracy. But when the setup is done, the rewards completely pay off. Now, it doesn't come with a cartridge, so I set it up with an Ortofon Blue. I considered pulling the LVB 250 off of my Thorns, but that's been getting a ton of use lately, and to be honest, I didn't want to pull the cartridge off of that turntable after all the work it took to dial everything in. So I left it where it was and put the Ortofon Blue on this one. Now, admittedly, the Blue might not be the best choice for the MT3, as it really deserves a better cartridge to truly pull all the information out of the groove, but you kind of have to work with what you got. And the MT3 got everything it could out of the Blue and more. One thing I really like, well, actually, there's a lot of things I like about the MT3, but the cable that's running out of the tone arm is captive, and that's to optimize performance. So there's no extra interconnects needed. You just plug it directly into your phono stage or your integrated amp. Leveling the turntable is made easy by way of leveling knobs on the top. Vibration control is really what this MT3 turntable is all about. From its spiked feet, which, be careful, these are sharp spikes, so you don't want to set it up on, say, a wood surface without the protective feet. To further mitigate vibration, the motor is set off to the side on a sub-chassis, so to change the speed, you really just have to move the belt itself from up and down to adjust for 33 1/3 and 45. For 33 1/3, it's the upper groove, and the lower groove spins the platter at 45. The plinth is heavy MDF with a satin black finish, and the platter itself is 30 millimeters of solid black acrylic. And here's what I mentioned earlier that I've never, ever seen before. The mat is part of the platter. It's aluminum with anti-static foam inserts. So the underside of the record isn't touching the entire surface of the mat, and the foam further helps to isolate it from any vibrations. And being anti-static foam, that helps as well. With the spiked feet, the integration of the aluminum platter with the foam inserts, an advanced bearing design, everything that went into this is meant to reduce the amount of vibrations that reach the stylus. The amount of thought that went into designing the MT3 is truly remarkable. And all of the specs for their proprietary tone arm are available on the website, and it's very in-depth, which I completely appreciated because it does help with matching cartridge resonance frequency. They provide all the data from effective length to mass to wiring capacitance, which that was actually cool to see. Everything you would want to know to help with setup. They really leave nothing to chance. So once everything was set up and I was ready to go, what did I pair it with? Well, at first I had it in my main room with my Super MM phono stage as well as the Galleon TS120, but most of the time it was in my review room here where I'm sitting now. And this is where it was running into the Tavish Classic all-tube phono stage and the Denon 600 NE that's running in full analog mode. With both the higher end setup in my main listening room and also the, I would say less higher end setup here in the review room, I experienced the same thing, extreme clarity and detail. And I really noticed this with Phish's Sigma Oasis album. There are a lot of different records that I like to listen to when I'm testing out a new component or changing the system or even tweaking speakers. And it runs the gamut from, say, Aerosmith's Toys in the Attic to Miles Davis's Kind of Blue. But lately I've been kind of leaning a little bit towards Phish's studio albums because of the amount of separation of instruments that those albums are usually produced under. Now, played on my review system, Trey's guitar has the same beautiful tone I've always loved, especially seeing them live. And you could easily hear every drum hit, both significant and subtle, from John Fishman. And the MT3 actually elevated the performance of the Ortophon Blue to, I would say, a slightly different level than I'm used to with the Ortophon Blue. And I have to hand it or give all the credit to the proprietary tone arm from Muarah. After that, I put on John Coltrane's Crescent. And that album's great for a bunch of reasons, but this specific pressing, for a reason I'll get into in another video, it excelled. Coltrane played tenor sax on this album, and a favorite of mine, although short, is Bessie's Blues. McCoy Tyner's keys never sounded better, and it really got to the point, and this is a huge compliment, and I love when this happens, but it got to the point where I kind of forgot what it was I was supposed to be analyzing, and I was just enjoying the music. And like I said, most of my listening was done here in the review room and not as much in my main listening room. And the review room being a step down from my main room, I decided I would toss the MT3 a softball. And that's when I put on Dean Martin's Hey Brother, Pour the Wine. I usually pull that one out when I'm cooking Italian food. And here, without the distraction of cooking, I was able to fully enjoy the instrumentation the MT3 pulled out of that 60-year-old groove. Again, I was impressed with its elevation of the Ortophon Blue, and I have to say, it did make me want to break down and pull the LVB 250 out of my Thorns, but needless to say, I didn't do that. But the experience made me appreciate the MT3 even more. So from Dean Martin, I then moved on to Coltrane's A Love Supreme, an album that I've always had a hard time with, particularly the sound of the tenor sax on this recording. What I do want to point out, though, is from my listening notes, is the mid-range. That does seem to be the MT3's strength and what its focus is. While my experience with this music remained the same, haven't quite got there yet. It's a relationship that remains, a bit strained. The mid-range and detail of the tenor felt less aggressive to me than compared to earlier listens. The MT3 doesn't add warmth. What it does excel at is dynamics and control without being, I would say, cold or clinical. And that's probably, I guess, the best way to describe my experience with this. It's a journey without fatigue. And usually when that journey is driven by a love supreme, it comes with fatigue to me. Now, you may be wondering, how much does the MT3 cost? Well, remember, it doesn't come with a cartridge, so it's a little bit less because of that. But that being said, if you compare this to other turntables of this quality and this type of design, you'd be easily looking at something along the lines of $5,000 to $6,000. The MT3 comes in at half of that, at least at the time I'm recording this. After spending time with this, I really hope that Muarah as a company lasts for a long time. They are fresh, they're innovative, and from what I understand, with each iteration of their MT3 or their MT series, from the 1 to the 2 to the 3, they're very customer oriented and take feedback seriously. Really, what more could you ask for? Now, if this content was useful, please like and subscribe. And if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you can do that with the super thanks, but you definitely do not have to do that. Anyways, thank you for being here. That's more important to me than a cup of coffee. So until next time, take care of yourself and enjoy your records.